It's okay. So,
All
all
right.
right, it's going to be ESV Cloud Kingdom yet again, but in the Protoss versus Protoss, this is a wholly different match from maybe Protoss versus Zerg.
Absolutely. So we'll see who wins. Will it be the Protoss player, or do you think it'll be the Protoss player?
I think that the Protoss has an exceptionally good chance on this map, particularly as we see right now Pooh spawning as the orange Protoss in the bottom left-hand corner. And I just want to say thank you so much for picking very different colors instead of like pink and
And
the
red
like
or
light purple
something.
color.
Yeah. Yeah, and we just see NRG Dime here at the top right spawning as our green Protoss player. I've got to say PvP is a pretty entertaining matchup. A lot of the times it kind of ends up being just like micro battles and stuff like that, but at the same time you have some kind of crazy stuff like maybe somebody decides to go for Dark Templars and then his opponent hasn't got his Robo Bay up yet, so kind of fun stuff like that can happen. We'll see. The last PvP that I watched on this map was between Hero and someone I can't remember, and both of them actually went for Dark Templar. It ended up being just a totally crazy, just insane game, but yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see how this one does play out.
In fact, the GSL finals last night that I was only able to catch some of, unfortunately, was a PvP, and so I think it's definitely something we'll be seeing a bit more of. A lot of Protoss players are learning the matchups just kind of across the board, and obviously if they made it to the GSL finals, have been quite successful with it. And so really, as with all mirror matchups, these start out exactly the same until there's going to be a point of differentiation, which is really, in this one, the second gas. Because if you just stay on one gas, you're definitely going for a 4 warp gate all in, which is still relatively strong, but kind of fallen out of favor. But it's really when you get that second gas that determines are you going for, as you said, Dark Templar, maybe Robotics, or Blink Stalkers, or even, and this is my brand new favorite, Stargate play.
Oh yeah, Stargate play is a lot of fun to see. We do see both of these players sending out scouts at pretty much the same time, staying even on that base. And Pooh looks like he's a little bit ahead in his production. Um, yeah, so maybe that'll give him a huge advantage, but I highly doubt it'll be that much of a difference. We do see the Gateway, though, finishing up for Dime first. And yeah, like you were saying, kind of same stuff going on here. Both of them dropping down Cybernetics Core. Both of them have just one gas right now. And yeah, we'll just kind of have to see what they decide to go for.
Oh, though we currently
Oh,
see the second gas being added on by Pooh right now, definitely showing that he wants to go for a little bit more of a gas-oriented play. This is probably for a robotics facility at this particular time. Either that or a Stargate, that's obviously a little bit less common.
right.
But really, you'd probably want to have it up a little bit earlier if you were really going to commit to any kind of Dark Templar play. Though currently with that one scout hanging out, it could also be a mind game as his opponent saying, like, you know what, I can cross out the super gas-heavy strategies and only have to deal with the ones that want some gas.
Yeah, indeed. But we do see both of these players transferring over pylon or probes rather to go ahead and mine from both of these gases. Although I think that Dime only has 2. Nope, now he has 3 mining from his second gas. So yeah, we'll see what they do. I think it'll probably most likely be robotics play, possibly just like on one base into Colossi to lots of stalkers. Or
Oh, I want to cheer. I want to cheer. Look at that thing next to Dime's Nexus. That beautiful, beautiful structure constructing. That looks like every other 3-square structure that the Protoss have. But it won't in just a moment. It's the Stargate being made.
Indeed, the Stargate is coming
Now,
up here.
now Pooh, don't let me down.
Yeah,
Don't
Pooh.
let me down, Pooh.
What the
Make a
Pooh
Stargate. I want to see Phoenix on Phoenix fights, man.
That would be pretty epic, I'm not gonna lie. But instead he's just going for another gateway. And if he can scout his opponent... Oh, actually there's a Twilight Council, so if he can scout his opponent effectively enough, maybe he'll be able to go for kind of a mass stalker play to deal with the air units of Dime. We do see, like you're saying, the Phoenix coming out for Dime. So we'll see what he does with those.
I really like these Phoenix are rallied to the corner, just trying to keep them out of sight until he has a critical mass of them, which is probably at about 3 or 4, because just 2 Phoenix is completely useless. You'll lift up one worker, kill it, lift up another worker, kill it. You sit there and kind of look angry in the sky. Though, I have to say, this Blink Stalker and Expand play, wow! This is one of the best blind counters you could possibly have to this kind of Phoenix play. In fact, with the Dark Shrine, like...
Wow, yeah.
I mean... I have a 5-minute delay on the stream, but this is, like, impeccable. In fact, right now he's getting a robotics facility, too, so I think Pooh is just in kind of, like, build all the things mode. And but like right now, there's absolutely no detection currently available for Dime, and there's going to be Blink available. Not really soon because upgrade obviously hasn't been started yet, but it will be around if Dime decides he really needs it to try to deal with the Phoenix that are currently on the field. As we right now see, 3 of them are out and have begun moving across the map.
Yeah, Dime is going to go ahead and move out here, like you're saying, and Pooh does have a Stalker and 2 Sentries to deal with any kind of air units. That should be enough to kind of keep them from doing too much damage. They'll probably get a probe kill here or there, but he will be able to scout, though. That's the thing. He'll be able to see the Dark Shrine. Although he might miss it. Let's see. Just check his vision. Yep. Okay, so he does see the Dark Shrine building. And there he goes. Some probes being lifted off and killed here while Pooh comes over with his Stalker to try to get rid of these Phoenixes. But man, he's just not really able to do a ton of damage quickly enough. And Dime is just kind of laughing at him there like, you can't do much damage against me. And flies away.
It's really impressive just how little damage is done to a Phoenix by Stalkers. Because they have like 180 health and they get 10 damage every time. It takes 18 shots. In fact, it looks like he's going to land a successful kill, just kind of like lifting that Stalker right up and going for it. That's just one unfortunate thing that Pooh might not have taken into account, which is that Dime is incorporating in a very nice ground force in addition to a Stargate play. And in fact, Dime... Oh, I guess it was the Dark Templar. Yeah, Dark Templar in his main.
Oh, there was a Dark Templar. We didn't even see it.
The proxy pylon went up, and I didn't actually see the blip moving away from it, though. I knew that like there's probably something like that coming, but yeah, he saw the Dark Templar and knew that that was unfortunately it.
Yeah, it only gotten like 1 or 2 kills, and he already GG'd. You're right. I mean, he didn't have anything to scout that out, so a little bit of unfortuitous for Dime, as his force was looking pretty cool. That was going to be a nice attack, but
I think that the attack would have been very effective against almost anything but that singular choice of Dark Templar.
Indeed, indeed. So, going to be waiting for the next game between Dime and Pooh.
Yeah, right now they're going to be just picking the map and... really, though, like as I think about it, I actually think that attack would have been effective against almost anything because if you're going for Immortals, you could just lift them right up, not have to worry about it. If you're going for Blink Stalkers, similarly with weakened Stalkers, to make them stay in place so that you're not allowed to march right in and or sorry, you're not allowed to just keep on like blinking them back and never have to worry about having them sniped off. So.
Oh, man, I just keep yawning. I wish I would stop that.
You should stop that. Might I recommend our sponsor, Monster? And no, I'm just kidding. But
I do have a Monster over here.
Monster is pretty delicious, and Monster did end up sponsoring the New England StarCraft 2 League, which is kind of like the predecessor of the Semi-Pro Gaming League. Semi-Pro Gaming, or the New England StarCraft 2 League, expanded into being across the whole of North America, and so. They are very supportive of our group and just esports in general. So you know what? Drink one anyway. Even if they're not sponsored for this event.
And are they still sponsoring EG?
Yes.
I know they used to, because they're still doing that. So if only I were on EG, I could have all the Monster I wanted. Oh well.
We could be having this call over Raid Call, their brand new sponsor.
That would be pretty sick.
Alright, so just waiting for Dime to pick the next map he wants to do battle on, and mirror matchup map choice is always one of the most difficult things, because any advantage you think you're getting, your opponent has equally well. And so it has to be a playstyle choice, and that if you really like macro games, you pick a macro-oriented map. If you really like micro, similarly, you go for that.
Yeah.
But you can't think, like, you know what? Protoss just has a hard time attacking on this map because it's easy to get surrounds. That's true, like, of both of your forces. So you really have to be careful if you're trying to do decisions like that.
Yes, sir. Alright, guys, we're just continuing to wait for these players to report their games, and there's the invite. Next game is going to be on Ohana, created by Iron Man, one of the coolest map makers out there.
For realsies, yo.
The guy's a baller. Alright, sweet. Just gonna go ahead and make everybody a riff here. Pooh chiming in with the typical rar to
Gangnam Style.
intimidate his opponent there. Make sure Dime's ready, make sure his battle net did not disconnect him like it did the last time, and then we'll be ready to go.
Yes, indeed.
Alright, cool, guys.
Both these guys go. I really hope that Dime isn't letting the mind games get to him. Just because in the chat he's been a little bit terse, and so it's a very frustrating way to lose.
Most definitely.
Because and I think he knows he scouted it too. I think he knows it was his mistake.
Yeah.
That he ended up looking at it, didn't quite have the time to react. But trying to come back from a 0-1 deficit right now. Energy Prime is spawning up top left-hand corner of Ohana as the green Protoss.
Indeed, and at the bottom right we do have Pooh, the red Protoss, so it's going to be a green versus red, kind of earthy tones, earthy colors for this game to go along with the earthy type map that Ohana is. And yeah, we'll see how this one does turn out. Will Pooh decide to go for another Dark Templar play? It was very effective against his opponent. Or will Dime decide to play a little bit more safer, do a little more scouting if he can, and kind of just remain defensive? Or will he be the one that goes for kind of the cheesy, aggressive play? We'll have to see how it turns out.
Yeah, and I have to admit there's a part of me, just from like seeing the way that Pooh plays and kind of like what he's been saying in chat and stuff, I really kind of expect him to go Dark Templar again. Because he seems like the kind of guy who would be like, you know what? He'll never expect it. There's no way that you will lose to Dark Templar and then think he's going to try that again. There's like...
Yeah. I could definitely see Pooh doing that. He's a little bit trolly in his chat and perhaps trolly in his game. Of course, I've only seen one of his games, so we'll see. If he does go for DTs again, I will give him a high five whenever I meet him and be like, that was hilarious. But I'm sure Energy Dime probably wouldn't really like that. But yeah.
Yeah, so right now, Pooh is moving out his probe at a very interesting place, quite off the beaten path. And actually, at the same time, it looks like Dime is... They're going like way around one another, not even hinting at the fact that there are Zelnago watchtowers on this map. Now, we can already see that Dime has a pylon queued up, and that definitely looks to me to be for a proxy, and I highly suspect it's going to be for proxy Robo and a Warp Prism.
Oh yeah, that could definitely be the case. At the same time, Pooh did go for the kind of strange pathing, but didn't really end up doing any kind of proxy. And he'll see that, well, is that pylon there actually a fake pylon that is just kind of trying to show him that, no, I'm not doing anything suspicious? Or do you typically
now
have
this pylon... The pylon's going to get a huge amount more supply than he actually needs right now, as we currently see 19 out of 34. But when you're players of this caliber, you're definitely doing pylon counting, though the assimilator grab out of Pooh, very clever. This will slow down the push by a pretty noticeable amount, as you need basically what this strategy is that you're going for a 4 warp gate, but you're also getting a robotics facility and a warp prism in addition, and you end up losing out because you have to make those additional units. And so the benefit you're trying to get is that it comes from a very unexpected angle. They're warping right into your base when you thought that your front was secure. But right now, because he isn't going to be able to mine off of that assimilator, he needs to get another 100 gas out of just the one on the right before he can do anything with it.
That is a significant delay from a very easy to do thing by Pooh. Just simply taking that assimilator has put Energy Dime and his strategy so far behind. For those of you Protoss players out there looking for some kind of cool strategies, that is definitely a good way to go about preventing and kind of controlling your opponent in their build and kind of their style of play.
Yeah, though right now, just taking a look at it, I have to wonder if I'm actually right about the DTs. Because there's currently only one gateway on the field, a second one being added on for Pooh. And so that means that this Twilight Council, if he's going for Blink Play, though actually now he's adding on 2. Yeah. Okay, so he might end up going for Blink Play. But while he just had the 1, it looked a lot like he was just going to be going for the singular Dark Templar play. But no, in fact, with the 4th gateway currently added on, he will have the ability to make a bunch of Blink Stalkers. The Warp Prism is on the way, all of the additional gateways being added on to the south, so this will not be obvious whatsoever, even if there was a scout available for Pooh, but there is not, so... In fact, never mind. He does Dark Templar anyway. What am I like?
What's
I'm
going
done
on?
predicting what this guy's gonna do, man.
Just some really interesting stuff. Now we do see Pooh moving over here with a probe. Well, he did see the one stalker there, so he might know that something's up here. He has not seen the warp prism though, and Pooh just moving his out across the map. He does have 2 sentries over here in case this warp prism happens, and yeah, it is happening. 2 stalkers being warped in here right now, and for Daima, a lot of stalkers being warped in here. Will Pooh have what he needs to deal with this attack from Dime? So looking a little bit iffy, he's being forced to pull some probes off of the line. Energy Dime not even bothering to micro away, instead is just eating up these probes here. There's still one stalker that's doing some OK damage against this attack by Dime, but ooh, this is just not looking too good for our red Protoss player.
The thing is, though, is that there's a distinct time limit on it, and it's over in 5 seconds. The second he can... Actually, no. Dime does not... no, Dime does... Dime is actually currently low on energy.
Oh,
right now,
no.
on money. 2 Dark Templar are being warped in right now, and that is the
wow.
end of this attack. He cannot stay. I would honestly kind of like to see him maybe sacrifice the Zealots to try to just get as many probe kills as he currently can, but that's always the risk with when your opponent is going for Dark Templars and you don't have detection. The second they're out on the field, everything you were doing is over.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Observer is complete now. It is moving its way over towards the army, but one Dark Templar does go ahead and go towards the main base. We're going to need to see a forge. Yeah, there's already a forge, sorry. These cannons are going to be so helpful in dealing with the DTs that are coming up towards the main base. And Pooh, GG's, giving the victory to Dime.
Great recovery from Dime right there. Not panicking, not trying to change his strategy at the last minute. He was like, you know what? It's going to be a delay of maybe like 20 seconds or something like that because of the additional gas that I won't have access to. But I'm just going to wait it out and go for it anyway. And because of the Dark Templar rush, there was just nothing to defend when the units were warped right into his main.
Yeah, Energy Dime was ready for those DTs this time. We'll see if he'll be ready next time if Pooh decides to go for DTs again. Yeah.
Just thinking it over and saying like, well, nobody would go for DTs a third time when I've shown I know how to deal with it, right?
And Energy Dime just messaged me. He sure likes his DTs, I would say. I was just
it's true. Like, they're one of those interesting kind of like... All in is tossed around a lot more than I necessarily like, but very much all in, because if your opponent just doesn't have detection or you snipe down, like if there's an Artosis pile on powering robotics, you just win. The game's just over.
Yeah. So the game has already been created. Just gonna wait for everybody to get put into position. I guess that's my job this time.
Yes, indeed. We're moving into Game 3 between Pooh and Energy Dime at 1-1 each. And third map is GSL Antigua Shipyard, one of the largest and longest rush distance maps that currently available. Not that Protoss care about that. They have warpins.
Okay, just waiting for our producer to get out of the game. There we go. Waiting for Pooh to give us the go-ahead. Okay, he already said go. Fine, be that way. Alright guys, you go ahead and start this one up.
Fantastic. And now, the question on everybody's mind. Will Pooh
go for DTs again? I think Dime might be expecting it this time. Just with the comment that he made to me. He sure likes his DTs. He's going to be very much watching for it. I would actually love to see Pooh not go for DTs this time. Instead go for like a triple fast expand or something just ridiculous and like completely macro all in.
But in fact, it's getting started on this particular game. Energy Dime pulling it back in the previous game. He's spawning right now in the bottom left-hand corner as the green Protoss yet again.
Indeed, and our Protoss at the top right is Pooh spawning as the orange. Very much. We'll see. What else is orange? What famous company goes with orange? I can't think of
Home Depot?
Home Depot, there we go. It's Home Depot versus something green. I don't even
Walgreens.
know. Walgreens, there you go. But yeah, gonna be a good one on the Antigua Shipyard. One of my favorite maps. And does this one, like I say, this one does not have the gold. Now, did they take the gold out for the latter version?
No,
Or
the
okay.
gold is still in the ladder version, and there's one other version out there too that's occasionally used in tournaments that still has the gold.
Okay.
This is the one that you can see. The additional two patches were added in very strangely.
Yeah.
As you like look around the rest of the map, you see that all of the mineral fields are all like nice and smooth in their
Yeah.
semicircle, and then there's the one up at the top which like has a broken tooth and it tries to hide it in public. Like,
Oh, that's just too bad. But yeah, we'll see what happens if, like you were saying, one of the players decides to go for the 2 gas really quickly. We do see Energy, or actually Pooh here, getting his gas a little bit later than his opponent. Um,
yeah, I
yeah,
have to wonder if that was a conscious choice or just a small slip up because he definitely had the minerals to go for it, but really his gas is considerably delayed right now, and ultimately in Protoss versus Protoss that can lead to a very nasty cascade effect because
yeah,
when your warp gate research finishes is kind of when you start to feel safe.
right.
But if your opponent actually has warp gate tech before you do, that's a big problem.
Yeah, it's quite scary. It's quite scary indeed. We do see the cybernetics core for both of these players going down. Of course, Energy Dime is a little teeny tiny bit ahead, just by a few seconds. And will Energy Dime take the gas if Pooh? He is over there next to the Vespene Geyser. Don't know if he's just trying to taunt and intimidate him. We do see Pooh forced to pull a couple of probes off here. So Energy Dime wants to know if he's going for DTs.
Oh,
Um,
what he's actually doing is this is one of those little known fact things that some of our audience might be interested to learn. If you have a probe which is right clicked on a gas geyser and you try to build on the gas geyser, you can't do it. It's
really?
actually blocked. Yeah, you have
Huh.
to right click directly on the structure, and the probe or whatever unit will move as close as it can to it. But that was actually a pretty darn good block. Got himself about an extra 10 seconds of his opponent not having the gas.
Yeah, and we do see Pooh going ahead and getting that second gas up, as well as his opponent. So, I don't know. I kind of have the feeling that DTs are going to be happening again.
Well, right now there is that second gateway currently on the field, which is something we haven't really seen Pooh do before. He always adds in all of his gateways after he already has the Twilight Council on the field.
Sure.
So he might be going for something a little bit different. We do see a Twilight Council, but this time it's from Dime. If he goes for Dark Templar, that would be one of the funniest turnarounds ever. Let's see how you like these invisible one-shot worker units.
Yeah, I just don't know. We'll see. I'd kind of like to see one of the players try to go for the Stargate play again, like you were saying. It's definitely going to be an entertaining push. But, yeah, we'll see. Pooh just blocking up his ramp here with these 3 Stalkers, whereas Energy Dime just currently has 2 Stalkers because he's gone ahead for that Twilight Council. At the same time, is building a Robo facility, and it looks like Pooh drops down his own Twilight Council.
Once again, they just kind of like do all the things tech route. The only thing they need now is a Stargate, and they would be the ultimate Protoss. How do they counter you if you have everything? But no, Blink going down right now for Dime, and so he's going to be using that robotic facility for an observer so he can start blinking directly into his opponent's base. Now, interestingly, Pooh is kind of doing the perfect anti-strategy. If his response in game 1 was the perfect blind counter, this is the perfect anti-counter. As right now he's just opening up additional pathways to be attacked by attempting to expand. He does have his own blink on the way, which will be a big help because if he can try to snipe the observer with his own observer, or just blink around his base in order to do a defense, he can hold it off. But trying to defend both sides of this at the same time can be quite difficult.
Yeah, so we do see Pooh here going for that expansion very, very riskily, and Dime is going to go ahead and morph in, or warp in rather, some Stalkers up here. Currently has 5 Stalkers in the Observer, making its way across the map, and once he gets to that high ground, he will be able to jump up there with his blink and go straight for Pooh's economy line, or perhaps even go for some pylons. Probably going to go ahead and go for the probes. All of Pooh's Stalkers are positioned over here at the ramp where his natural is now. If he can hold on, it would be really nice for him as he will have an economic advantage. But we do see Dime moving over here, and might take a few shots from these Stalkers as he approaches that ramp. Yep, goes ahead and takes some damage, but Pooh decides to micro back, and a really nice blink right there, blocking off 3 Stalkers, getting 3 free Stalker kills, and Energy Dime's pylon, or I'm sorry, observer is up there, and suddenly Pooh's army is completely decimated and gone. Wow.
Wow.
Man.
Well, when attempting to when your opponent is attempting to expand, one of the best responses is to just go kill him, and that's kind of what we saw right there. Dime not even bothering with attempting to do any of the kind of like fancy play I was predicting of like blinking back and forth between the natural and pulling his opponent out of position. He just kind of looked at his opponent's army and was like, "Oh, I can kill that,"
Yeah.
and just went and killed him with two really good offensive plays.